Coming up, we are going to be talking to lawyer John Cooper, Casey. We're going to be talking to him about not just Lucy Connolly case, interesting developments on that, and also that Palestine Action Court case, which, of course, there's lots of legal difficulties about talking about that, but we will talk about, the facts that we can talk about. We'll explain what the problem is there to you in a few moments. First up, though, let's talk to Reform UK Councillor Oliver Freeston, who joins us. A very good morning to you. Hello. Oliver, are you there? Hello, Oliver. Are you on mute? Hello, Oliver Freeston. We can't seem to get him up.
Hello, Julie.
Hello. Were you on? Did you have your mute button on?
No, I think it was you, but
it was
I'm
at our
delighted
end.
to hear your voice.
Someone had it. Well, anyway, we got you there. Thank you very much for joining us. Of course, your party leader, we just had a speech from the Prime Minister. Well, he's still... Actually, I think he has finished saying whatever he was saying about other things, but of course everyone was focused on what he was saying about Mandelson. We've also had your party leader giving a speech, and we've got Kemi Badenoch a little bit later giving a speech as well. Talking first of all, though, about the Prime Minister and what he had to say about Mandelson, and basically saying similar things, I think, to yesterday at PMQs, basically that, had he known now, then what he knows now, he wouldn't have appointed Mandelson. And, he was asked and he lied, and when we found out he lied, we sacked him. Do you think that Keir Starmer survives this?
No, but I didn't think he was going to survive anyway. I think that this will be the straw that broke the camel's back. Labour MPs are revolting on him. They're disgusted, just as the rest of the country are. And for Starmer to sit there and say that he wasn't aware, well, that's ridiculous, because the vetting and advised him of the links, advised him they'd stayed in touch. So this was a deliberate choice by the PM and shows that he lacks any sort of good decision making, and this is the man in charge of our country.
I mean, a lot of people are saying it's the backbenchers who are, on the Labour side who are very unhappy. You could see, a certain amount of glee from opposition party members. But if he did fall, depending on who we would get as an alternative, there isn't likely to be a general election. Your party leader, Nigel Farage, has said a few times, he thinks the general election isn't going to be as late as 2029. I think August 2029 is the latest constitutionally legal date it could be held, obviously following on from a July 2024 election, but he's predicted it could be as early as 2027. What is the scenario in which we do get an earlier election, and would you really want to be facing another Labour leader, or wouldn't it be best for both Reform, Tories and the Greens and the Lib Dems even to be facing basically a sort of wounded, walking wounded Keir Starmer rather than any other Labour leader?
To be quite truthful, Julia, it doesn't matter who Labour put in charge, because they're all part of the same party. They've all supported this PM through his disastrous moves. They've not revolted enough. And for me, Reform UK are the party that are actually leading the polls, and there's no reason for that not to continue. I think that when you look at the leaders that are on show, people can identify with Nigel Farage. People can't identify with Keir Starmer. They don't know what he stands for. His party aren't united. The country isn't united. It's not even like one wing of his party are happy. Nobody's happy. And so, yes, he has to go, but who they replace him with, there's nobody really that stands out from the front benches, because they've all been complicit in what has so far been a disastrous first 18 months in charge.
Well, of course, we know that one of the reasons why all these leaders are out and about is because we've got these local elections coming up across England. We've got the Senate elections in Wales, where Nigel Farage was this morning, and we've got parliamentary elections, of course, for Holyrood in Scotland. We've also, of course, got a by-election, which we can't talk about because we name a single candidate. We have to name every single one. But in terms of what your party leader has announced today, not only have we had another defection, we've had a guy called James Evans, who has defected from the Tories to Reform. But I mean, he was basically sacked, I think, as part of the whole ousting of Robert Jedrick. But you've also got the announcement of the brand new Reform leader in Wales, Dan Thomas, who seems to me, though, he's got lots of experience in local government, but in Barnet, in North London. Is he the ideal choice?
Listen, I trust in our leader to make the right decisions. He's got a party polling from pretty much nothing up to leading the polls in over 200 polls. Some people have got comments on the different defections. Everybody has their own views, which is fine. We live in a democracy. But I think importantly, if our party leadership have decided that this is the way forward, then we've got to get behind it, because they've not done as bad so far, have they?
Well, we shall wait and see. Let's finally, one of the biggest issues that your party has done very well on has been about the small boat crossings. Nigel Farage was the first politician to get out on a boat in the Channel and talk about it. A lot of other politicians have followed through, and even the Labour Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood has, absolutely been talking about these legal crossings and wanting to take action. Of course, the gangs are not yet smashed, despite the best efforts of the Prime Minister. But yesterday, in talking to the Home Affairs Select Committee, Shabana Mahmood refused to guarantee the small boat crossings will drop, not even just be ended, be dealt with, but would drop by 2027. That's in a year's time. What did you make of that?
I mean, isn't it depressing? They're not smashing the gangs, they're smashing the records. And I just wonder sometimes whether these politicians that come out with these slogans actually believe that it's going to happen, or then they're just going to reinvent themselves a year later with yet another slogan. And they stand there at the lantern and they say it with chest and they seem to really believe it. But the public see through it. The public can see that it's not happening. And whilst the boat crossings aren't being reported every day like they used to be, it's still the major issue on the doorstep. And people know that Reform are the only party that have got credible plans, including leaving the ECHR, which the Conservatives originally said they wouldn't do. They were reluctant. And that's because you've got a party stuffed full of left-leaning, almost liberal Democrats, whereas Reform are the centre-right of politics. And we are willing to take the steps that are necessary to protect our borders.
You're a local councillor. Are you still happy to have those Tories coming into your party? I think it's a quarter of your MPs, in fact, more than a quarter of your MPs. Half your MPs are ex-Tories, aren't they?
I'm an ex-Tory voter myself, as are millions of people.
Were you a Tory councillor?
So I was a Tory councillor. I left in 2024 when Reform were polling 8%, so I'm quite happy of when I left. But ultimately, a lot of people are ex-Tory voters, but we're attracting voters from all over the place. And if people can join the party and bring a skill set and genuinely believe in our values and principles, then I'm fine with that. But the important thing is they're not just doing it to save their own careers.
OK, really good to talk to you, Reform UK Councillor Oliver Freeston. Thank you for that. Philip Ingram, it is interesting, again, because everybody's watching and waiting, what's happening with Keir Starmer. We've got people on his own backbenches waiting, and his cabinet waiting to pounce. We've also got, the other parties waiting to pounce as well. Your best guess, what happens over the next few, I don't know, days, weeks, months?
If he's sensible, he takes himself off to hospital by resigning and gets his wounds fixed and comes back in the back benches. If he's not sensible, he lies there whilst everyone goes and puts the boot in a little bit further, and he will eventually die.
The thing is about Prime Ministers is they're surrounded by people who they've appointed, in whose interest it is that he stays in office, because they lose their jobs and their power as well. So everyone around going, no, Prime Minister, this will definitely work, and this form of words you've just said will definitely work. And
that form of words was, there's so many end games there. It opens more questions than it answers. In the way he spoke, the words he put out there.
This is sort of the problems with having politicians who think they're cleverer than they actually are.
No,
it's a fatal flaw.
They are
fatal flaw.
Absolutely fatal.
11